Hello, welcome to tonight's podcast for Tuesday, December 2nd. Tonight's is going to be quick, so I hope you are able to give it all the attention you need to fully understand everything. Yesterday we learned about the battle for ratification between the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists, and today we're going to be looking at the actual ratification of the Constitution. Remember, to ratify means to sign and make official. Next slide. So each state had their own convention or gathering of people where the people of that state or the lawmakers of that state would decide whether they wanted to pass the Constitution or not. The founders decided that the best way would be to have the people vote on it and not the state governments. In your notebook, I want you to answer why you think the founders didn't want the state governments to vote on the Constitution, whether it would be ratified or not. In order for the Constitution to be ratified, it needed to be approved by 9 of the 13 states. What's interesting here is that once 9 approved it, it would take effect, but only for those 9 states. So if you were a state that decided not to ratify the Constitution, you would technically be your own government, which, it's kind of cool to think about what would have happened. Remember, the Constitution is finished in September of 1787. By December, so just a few months later, it was already approved by Delaware, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. Delaware, to this day, on their license plate has the slogan, "The First State," since they are technically the first state to join the United States of America. That's a good trivia question you could ask someone someday. New York and Virginia both refused to ratify it without a Bill of Rights. They say, unless there's a Bill of Rights, we are not signing this Constitution. In your notebook, I want you to answer these 2 questions. Since you know New York and Virginia were the last to sign it, do you think that more Federalists or Anti-Federalists lived in New York and Virginia? Do you think there were more Federalists or Anti-Federalists in those states? The second question I want you to answer is, why do you think it was so important for New York and Virginia to be part of this new government? Why were New York and Virginia such important pieces to this new government? Finally, once they're promised the Bill of Rights, they ratify the Constitution in June of 1789. So almost 2 years after it was produced. And it wasn't until 1790 that Rhode Island becomes the last state to ratify it. And I want you to answer in your notebook, why do you think Rhode Island was the last state to ratify the Constitution? Next slide. So let's look at this Bill of Rights. Everyone wanted a Bill of Rights. Well, what is it? It's part of our Constitution, and it guarantees rights for all citizens. It gives me and you certain assurances or guarantees that there are certain things that just can't happen to you. You're guaranteed that you have certain rights. And it's important to note that the Constitution only applies to citizens of the United States. So the Bill of Rights, the rights that you receive as a United States citizen, are not given to people that are here illegally. It just governs the citizens. So that's an important thing to keep in mind. The Bill of Rights makes up the first 10 amendments of the Constitution. So an amendment is an official change or an addition to something. The Bill of Rights was an addition to the Constitution. Our Constitution today has a total of 27 amendments, but only the first 10 are called the Bill of Rights. And James Madison was the one who wrote all the amendments and then gave them to Congress to approve. And his original list actually included 12 amendments, and then Congress decided on just 10 of them. They were sent to the states, and they were approved by the states. We're going to learn, when we start talking about the Constitution, what the process is to actually make more amendments. Next slide. Your final assignment for today is simply to make sure that you have answered all of the questions in your notebook. Hint, hint. All right, that is it for tonight. Make sure you also complete the structure of government chart that we began in class. Have a great night.